Hello everyone, welcome back to another recap where I show you what I took on my XFAs for the BNQ challenge today. I took a trade across my XFAs and went break even. That led to a loss. So amazing trade today, but mid opportunities. Alright, these are the key points for today. And let's get started with the 4 hour. We see that the time we were very overextended this range with equilibrium and efficiencies above. In addition, we don't really have the best high time frame draws on our sell side. However, we also have to take into consideration that we are in extreme bearish order flow across the high time frame. So I mark out the 4 hour gap in equilibrium as a possible draw, which is where I'm leaning, but also this bullish 4 hour draw with another more premium bearish 4 hour gap. So here, I just want to see what price does and how we can react to these levels to see how we can adapt and trade these conditions. Now, in the 1 hour, I noticed that in the pre-market, we had mitigated this 1 hour gap with an intermediate high. So I marked it out as price can also have a bearish continuation type of day, and we can catch some shorts if the setup presents itself. Now, in the 15-minute, we get into the fun stuff. So what happens at market open? We mitigate this 15-minute bullish condition right here, making an invalid 30-second long setup. So at that point, Ronan saw that we mitigated and rejected this whole rejection block with this 15-minute here and this 1 hour manipulation here. But this rejection block was his key level. And so at that point, with the previous manipulation I had mentioned, we created a super great valid 30-second short that I did not take this because it was super close into open, and that was just not a valid key level for me. However, if I had to say, this was probably trade of the day. If you had the necessary confidence and conviction to take, then yeah, for sure. Then we have this gap, which will be important. Now, I will show you the two 30-second setups that I am talking about. The first one is the long right here, which just was super invalid. We close away above the intermediate high and RR is but then we start rejecting the rejection block and gap and create this short setup, which it then just flies, and we run through the 15-minute condition confirming bearish order flow for the New York AM. So at this point, we're looking for continuation shorts, but now I am waiting to get this true manipulation into the 4 hour, sweeping out London lows as well right here. And this all happened after the 10 a.m., creating a new unmitigated 15-minute gap above. So at this point, I love the narrative for this trade, and I wait for a valid inversion, which was the 30-minute now. Before taking this trade, I accept the fact that I'm trading a low time frame retrace SMAC, which is good, but we don't have a good target onto the unmitigated gap. So generated liquidity is what I mean by this. Also, 10 a.m. has been really bought lately. And lastly, we don't have a great break-even level, so I decide to let price play out. And if it's way too choppy, I'm going to break even at the low time frame internal high of this swing, which is marked out, which is what ends up sadly happening. And this trade gets stopped out, making targets on the way to the unmitigated gap, which we then sweep out. So yeah, I don't regret taking the trade, and that was today's trade that played out later. In addition, I want to cover, this is how I journal today. I did, on a separate account, leave the trade running. Took a loss, don't really care about that. Went break even on the XFAs. No real improvement. My draws were really good. I wanted to cover Ronan's trade, but I didn't end up journaling it. And this was the trade on the 3-minute. This was the inversion, and this is the low time frame internal high. This was the higher time frame one. This is the target. And this is my thoughts for the day and week, if you want to get a little insight into my brain.